Hey, welcome to the Guitar Hacker. Today, we've got this Godzilla guitar, and we're going to rip the pickguard off on the hack of the day because it's ugly. And then, we're going to take this Taylor GS Mini and compare the sound to see which is the better travel guitar for me. Ha 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 ha. That's all today, and it's happening on the Guitar Hacker.
Okay, so we're done kidding around about the 50s Japanese horror movies with the dubbed in voices. Now we're going to talk about the Godzilla guitar, which is actually Gosilla, Gosilla, but I'm going to show you the headstock here. As you can see, it's got some kind of monster on it. It looks like a brontosaurus actually. It doesn't look anything like Godzilla, but I'll just go with it. This is what I would consider a travel guitar. It's a thin line. I like thin guitars. It's got a laminate top that they're going for a maple kind of look, but it looks kind of like Home Depot plywood, discolored. I've read some reviews on these. That's pretty common on these, but I don't care. It's got a ridiculous pick guard on it that we're going to take off in the hack of the day. Looks like something from a Pac-Man game. The usual cheap Chinese tuners, and I already messed with the bridge a little bit. I actually took it up a little bit because there was some buzzing on this guy. Truss rod probably needs to be tweaked a little bit. So I'm going to do all that and then compare it to a Taylor GS Mini. So this is all about travel guitars in this case. I've had travel guitars because I've traveled a lot for business, and most of them are terrible. The GS Mini is actually not bad. The GS Mini, to my mind, gets you to about 80% of the guitar sound of like a real guitar, like a triple aught Martin or something like that. I mean, it's not all the way there, but it sounds decent. It's got a solid spruce top, and it's made well. I've had the Ibanez travel guitar and looked at the Little Martin, the Baby Taylor, the Backpacker, and some of these electric guitars you can get. I had a Steinberger for that matter, 6-string, and they were all terrible. So thinking about a travel guitar still, wouldn't mind having one that I didn't invest much money into, $70 used at Guitar Center, versus having to replace the Taylor GS Mini for $600, $700, $800 if something were to happen to it. And a lot of times when you're traveling on business, you end up leaving the guitar in the car all day and you try to park in the shade on a hot day. But with this guy, it's all laminate, so less likely to be damaged if you do that. So I'm going to compare these sound-wise, but first I'm going to take off that ridiculous pick guard on the hack of the day. So let's go there. On the hack of the day today, we're going to talk about pick guards. I personally do not like pick guards that much. Most people don't play that hard, and I almost in a way kind of like to be able to see how worn a guitar is. I think the whole Willie Nelson thing of having a hole in your guitar is pretty cool. But you can damage things, so pick guards can be nice for some people who play especially hard. Taking them off, simply a matter of warming it up with a hairdryer, which I've already done in this case. I've actually already had this one off. Get underneath it with something that's not going to scratch it. This isn't great, but you could very carefully get underneath it. I actually used one of these one time. It's a wood chisel, really smooth on the one side, just to slide it underneath, but it's not a very good idea. It could really hurt the finish of your guitar. I wouldn't do it with a really nice guitar. The better kind of thing would be something like the kind of thing you scrape off dishes with, something with an edge on it that can get underneath there, and you could just work through, and it being plastic would not hurt anything and not scratch anything. So once you get it started, especially once it's warm, it'll come off really easy. And then you can replace it with something different if you'd like, a different color pick guard or something psychedelic or whatever. Anyway, that's the hack of the day. Okay, now we're just going to look at the sound of these two things. This guy without the pick guard, though it probably doesn't make a bit of difference, and the Taylor GS Mini stock. They've both been strung with light gauge Elixir strings, so the strings should be the same. I tuned them with the same tuner, and so they both should be in tune somewhat, and we're just gonna kind of compare the sound of the two of them. Definitely a lot better sounding, especially as you get up to the higher frets and you're playing these things like the and much easier to play. So it's time for this week's verdict between the GS Mini and the Godzilla. And the GS Mini sounds really good for a travel guitar. It's the best I've seen. And it's easy to play, so I like it. But for a travel guitar, I'm concerned about the fact that it's got its cute little case that says Taylor on it. It's easy to spot in your SUV and more likely to get stolen. Plus, you leave it in your car like you have to sometimes if you're traveling for business. It's more likely to be damaged by the heat. Now the Godzilla guitar, if it gets stolen out of the electric crappy gig bag that I'm gonna stick it in, it's not that big a deal. It's $70 I lost at Guitar Center. Being the fact that it's laminate, less likely to get damaged by heat. If it does, I will just steal the B band out of it, which is $35, $40 worth of value. So I'm gonna keep this, and I apologize to anyone who came to the site looking to see guitars get blown up. We're not going to blow up anything this week. If I do let go of this one, I'm going to give it to a deserving young person who could probably learn guitar on it, and it wouldn't be a bad learning piece. So anyway, that's the verdict for this week. Well, that's all we've got for you today on the Guitar Hacker. Looks like the Godzilla guitar is going to survive to continue trying to make music. Hope you like what you saw. Please hit the like button if you did, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Until then, God bless.